All right. We are now back to starting a new episode here at Extreme Podcasts. I've got my friend here, Jake, and I got another friend here, Chris, super knowledgeable guy. Obviously, Jake is kind of learning more about these kind of rabbit holes, and obviously Chris is going to help facilitate how deep we're going to go. Last one we left off on was about green mercury. So that was exciting to hear about. I've never heard about that before. And
it's an unknown element to me.
Unknown element, and so I'm just going to leave it there. We're going to go from there. Green Mercury. Take it off, Chris.
So Green Mercury and Red Mercury is actually depicted in Star Wars, the kyber crystals. So green
the lightsabers?
Yeah. So,
okay.
And it's another purpose for the Red and Green Mercury, other than, of course, so Green Mercury is for time travel. You can use Red and Green Mercury for levitation. It turns into Yellow Mercury. So it basically falls. What?
You just said it was used for time travel.
We got Yellow Mercury now.
Well, it turns into...
so you're mixing them.
No. So Green and Red Mercury is a state in which the Mercury is, and it turns into that through a process of alchemy. And then Yellow Mercury is another state of the Mercury, because Mercury is, much like they talk about in the past, a true state of metal, all metal. Mm-hmm. Mercury is actually found around black holes and white holes. And it actually is utilized in the process of the sun. What is it called?
Like plasma?
Plasma, the gamma. Yeah.
So if I kind of put a Hollywood scene, I'm imagining like Stargate, right?
Yeah.
Where they have like a portal with all these hieroglyphics around it. Looks like a bunch of keystones and everything, a big clock.
That's accurate.
And then it's got this Mercury looking almost like a mirror that's sitting there wobbling, like gray Mercury.
It uses the energy from the Mercury to actually create that portal. But it does look like water, because that is
right.
The easiest way to transport, like the actual.
Because you were saying like time portals, space manipulation. Mm-hmm. I'm envisioning Stargate. Is that what they did, like the ancients of old, like time of Egypt? These Egyptians, at that time it was probably called Chem. Egypt is more of a recent term. Mm-hmm. But how many years ago? I mean, what do we have for evidence about this?
Well, they have a lot of hieroglyphs that actually show and depict this. Newton he talks about utilizing the science of the Egyptians to create his alchemical processes. So, and there was another guy, I can't remember his name, but he's the gentleman in Florida who actually said that he discovered the ancient archaeology of the Egyptians, and he was actually able to use the two powers, as he calls them, which is, of course, the Caduceus, the two serpents, which is also the two forms of electricity or electrons.
Explain to the audience that might not be so familiar, kind of the Staff of Hermes.
The Staff of Hermes.
So maybe explain that just real quick.
The Staff of Hermes what it was believed was an actual wand by a god that had, but it's more of like esoteric as well. It's a symbol, but it was believed that he had a staff that had two serpents surrounding it, but the two serpents weren't snakes. They were two forms of energy, which is the two forms of electricity, which according to this gentleman, he figured out by reading ancient Egyptian mythology, and he was able to reproduce it utilizing copper wiring and very simple objects. He actually wrote a book, and that book you can find online and actually reproduce what he created, but he would create this device and you could put it on a rock and it would actually levitate.
Is that the guy that was in Florida that built the coral
reef
castle? Coral Castle Park, I guess what it is right now, where there are 20-ton, 10-ton pieces of coral, and he did it by himself. Only did it at night. Theoretically had this box, like size of a really big shoebox. Mm-hmm. was some kind of technology, and then it had some kind of cantilever weight, and it would pick it up somehow. And like you said, he would somehow levitate it, put it on there, and then he would basically move it around with this big stick on a cantilever.
He also
by
said
himself.
by himself,
And he cut it. How'd he cut it?
Well,
Okay.
he was an engineer. He also said that technology can also heal you, because the two forms of energy actually, like, it actually is in our bodies too. It's all over in the world. It's all over in everything. And those two forms of energy is the yin and yang. And I mean, he didn't say that it was yin and yang, but he did say it was female and male, and within a spectrum. And so the Caduceus, or a Caduceus, whatever,
Caduceus, yeah.
whatever, however you want to pronounce it, that is a rod that he used that supposedly had like two snakes. That's the way they depict it. But those two snakes are depicted as snakes because those are the mythological depictions of those two forces of life. Was the two serpents, much like in Egyptian, there was the two Uriases, the two forms of life, male and female, the yin and the yang. So, and he, Hermes, the wand was actually just a wand, and it would have the two forms of energy pulsating through it. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that all mythology and all gods come from an origin, which is Atlantis, Middle Earth, which is what you were talking about with CERN, Europe. Europe, the cataclysm that everybody talks about in the Bible was actually started in Europe and part of America and part of South America and Egypt. All of those were one big city, and there was a cataclysm and the continents spread apart.
Is that
So
what you're talking about,
Atlantis-
like Lemuria and
Well, no,
Atlantis?
Lemuria is different. Atlantis was the city in the center of Pangaea. It was the landmass. It was a city, the central city of the gods in the center of the landmass. And when the children of the god got the technology of the gods, they actually screwed up, and there was a big war, and there was a cataclysm, and that is actually what separated the continents, was this big cataclysm.
Oh
And
my
so-
gosh, this is a whole rabbit hole.
Getting into Pangea
We've
now.
got to wait for another episode on that one. So coming back
But
real quick.
It's related to CERN because CERN is in the center of Europe, which is part of Atlantis.
Oh, that's so cool. Which they say in the scriptures that was the seat of Apollo. And I think Apollo means the god of destruction. Is that right?
Mm-mm.
No?
Are you thinking of the word Apollyon?
Apollyon, right.
You know what? I said that word. I used to know
What
it
does
meant.
Apollyon mean?
Apollyon?
Isn't it? I know it's not a good thing. Like
Apollyon,
it's
it's an Aramaic. I'd have to look it up. But
Okay.
Apollyon,
I want to say it references some kind of demonic entity or something like that. That's what I
Apollyon.
remember.
Well, Apollyon is not related to Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
It's Aramaic.
Okay,
Right.
so I just word associated there.
Word
My
association.
bad.
Yeah, so that we're
It's not a good word to use,
a
right?
whole nother rabbit hole. So coming back to CERN real quick. So we've got the green Mercury. We got red Mercury. Each one's got its own properties where portals can be opened. We've got tunnels underneath Switzerland, underneath France. They're obviously turning it on. There's no conspiracy about the turning on, correct? They've got the god of Shiva sitting outside Babylon, where they got a Tower of Babylon right above CERN. They turn the switch on. It sounds like it takes multiple nuclear reactors to supply the power to CERN. So imagine that amount of energy, which is obviously powering magnets, I guess, for lack of terms. Maybe powering up green Mercury and whatever else they're doing, powering up quantum computers, D-wave quantum computers, so it can analyze the data within seconds or minutes, which is used to take years for supercomputers to do. So how does that all relate back to these timelines? You said what it would do is it would make a portal and it would shift it enough, and then time would find itself coming back to the same parallel universe, or are we running two separate universes at the same time? How does that look?
Well, I do believe in string theory, but from what my memory serves, like my past life memories, is there's been, at least what I remember, is multiple incarnations of the physical universe, multiple incarnations. So it's happened multiple times. But the CERN, so I do believe that they are actually manipulating time, but the reason why they're manipulating time is because the universe is on its path and certain things are happening and going to happen right now. And multiple times they have prevented it from happening because they don't want judgment. They don't want judgment. And the fact is that it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
So if we're bringing
Interesting.
the Christian concept of it, of Judgment Day,
Absolutely.
they're trying not to have that day. They're trying to shift the timeline up as if not to show up to like in front of a judge. And you're like, you keep prolonging your court date.
No more recesses. They can't do it.
I mean,
so they're
Jake,
trying to just change
are
everything.
you just learning about some of these details now? I mean, what's your take on that?
So, yes, a lot of these details. I would consider myself a layman in the way of like conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very interested person. So, like, I analyze pretty much everything that comes across my plate.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, obviously the stuff that's going on in the world right now doesn't add up. Like what they're telling us and what's happening and what we can see and we can feel.
They keep gaslighting.
Yeah, it's not.
They're gaslighting.
Gaslighting's not a real term. You made it up.
I guess that's what it is.
But yeah, no, they are.
Yeah.
They are. I was just trying to gaslight you right there.
Yeah, you totally did.
I know. I'm
It's taken off.
So yeah, this is good information. There is a lot of stuff. So, I guess I had a question when you were talking about it's multiple nuclear reactors to power CERN.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was that you who said that? I think it was you who said that. So that made me think like, well, man, they must release a heck of a lot of power when they split a molecule. That's what they're doing over there.
They're blowing it up,
or they're colliding them, and it's literally atoms. Is that not an atom bomb? Is that not what they do to an atom in a bomb? Is they split an atom right when it hits the ground and
then you got fission.
So, but why is there not nuclear explosions happening underground? I don't understand. If they're splitting an atom,
well, I guess that's what they're doing, right?
But it has to be refined. So I'm just sorry. It's kind of unrelated to like the spookiness of this. That's just kind of a engineering question. Like, how the heck do they contain a nuclear explosion?
Well, how is your body containing a nuclear explosion? Like billions of nuclear explosions.
Well, I was unaware that I had that inside my body.
You do.
I should probably go to the doctor.
Your atoms are that potential energy on
Potential energy.
Yes, potential energy.
Gotcha.
So like your body is many, many, many cells, billions of cells, right? Within those cells, there's many, many atoms, infinite amount of atoms.
And we can keep going down until we can't see anymore. There's probably still more.
But the energy itself is contained in your body. That's why, going back to the whole properties of alchemy is order within chaos. So that is what that was the saying of Ra, that existence is order within chaos.
Like the top of the dollar bill, it says order seclorium, right? Order out of chaos.
Different. That's different. That's
Are you talking about New World Order?
Yeah, that's different. Ra stated that order within chaos is our known universe. So when you hold the energy of 1,000 suns in your body, all you have to do is it's held by electromagnetic energy, which is your brain. It's memory. It's your thoughts. It's your memory. And they utilize electromagnetic energy as well as the Earth's electromagnetic energy to prevent a huge cataclysm. But they've lost a couple of times, lost control of it. And I know that because in 2012, I actually went to the source of the dark waters in 2008 too, when they turned it on.
What's the dark waters?
the dark waters. Look up the dark waters. The Egyptians talk about the
Okay,
dark
all right,
waters.
we got to hold that. For the next episode.
Well, all right, yeah. So it seems like there's some parts that are missing that I don't know yet.
Right.
That I need to have as part of my repertoire to understand what's coming.
Right.
Is that okay?
Everyone, thanks for watching this episode for Extreme Podcasts. Obviously, we've got some fun information to follow into the next one. Always stay tuned. And go to our Facebook, YouTube page. Always hit the share, like button, comment below. If you have any questions, especially about this green Mercury that I'm just learning about, we got some dark waters information coming in here from the Egyptians, which technically are the people from Chem, if we want to go back that far. And stay tuned, and see you next time.